What is a specialist and what is a journalist, or what is a person who is management, is an important aspect to understand. We are in a knowledge economy, and as we work in a knowledge economy, we should be very clear that there are going to be people who are going to be very strong in terms of the subject that they bring or the subject that they have competency on. So they are called specialists. So before we get a little more into detail, let's first talk about the method of working and what we are trying to talk about from a management perspective. So the decision making, or what we call as the final call or the ownership, is mainly of the person in an organization working in the traditional manner or in the historical manner, is defined with hierarchy. People, as we move up the hierarchy chain, will have higher responsibilities, higher accountability, and the decision-making authority would be greater. Just to give an example, a leader of a function, okay, we are going to take examples of the human resource function only. A chief human resource officer is a journalist role, is a management role, which means they are not specialists on the tasks they perform, but yes, they are strong in management. Now that is also a competency. We should assume that that is not required. Specialists do not have that competency. That's the reason they are a specialist. Similarly, a management person does not have a competency of a specialist. That's the reason they are there. Now, these are very clearly distinguished line, and each respectable and each having their own career path. So a chief human resource officer may have a OD specialist, an organization design specialist, who will recommend that this is how I recommend the org structure of the organization to be, so that we are more efficient, so that we have the maximum amount of resource utilization, and we are a highly lean and efficient organization. However, as of today, in most of the cases, the final decision of how the organization chart of an organization should be would rest with the CHRO, not with the specialist who's a OD specialist. Assuming that the OD specialist is also a senior person and the CHRO is also a senior person. Obviously, if the OD person is a very junior person, then we do not expect that kind of a level of competency. Junior or senior, over here we are referring from the maturity or the level of knowledge. We are not referring from a standpoint of years of experience. So a specialist is a person who knows the subject so strong that they really would have knowledge and expertise which will be greater than any other person in that room or in that area of operation. So a specialist, to be really useful, would require that the decision making has to be attributed to them. The accountability has to be attributed to them. The outcomes have to be attributed to them. The management person or whoever is their supervisor or whoever is working with them, the job of that person is to play the devil's advocate, and it is for them to ensure that they are able to sell this idea or the solution to the rest of the population. It is their job to get the buy-in. It is their job to make sure that it is implemented. It is their job to make sure that people understand and communicate it to people, but it is the creating that is the specialist job. And whether A, B or C is to be done is the specialist job. Similarly, when we talk about management or journalist roles, management and journalist roles are basically supposed to be people who are supposed to make sure that how I need to engage with specialists for specific situations. They should be able to identify that situation A warrants a specialist B, situation B warrants a specialist A. So to be able to identify who is the right person for the right job, to be able to find the right person, put the right specialist over there, and then let them do their job, making sure that you're giving them that opportunity to be able to do their job, making sure that you're able to give them that ability and the resources to be able to do the job, and making sure that the rest of the organization or the rest of the stakeholders need to be sold about this idea, need to be convinced about this idea or the solution, so that it's a good solution. And also to be able to do a business analyst job. What is a business analyst job? A business analyst job is that you should be able to understand from the key stakeholders what they're really expecting and pass those messages on to the specialist, so that the specialist can ensure that the solution they are designing is evolving and molding to actually deliver to what the stakeholders demand. It should not be a standalone silo. So in a way, the management or the journalists are also doing the work of a testing specialist, that they are testing the solution and saying to the specialist, I don't think this solution works, or I think this solution requires a little upgrade, or I think this is a wonderful solution because I have done this pilot testing, or I have tried to analyze it, I have tried to read it, but the final call and the outcome is always supposed to be of the specialist. As India is moving from a traditional economy to a knowledge economy, and as the generations are coming, the newer and newer generations, and people are really demanding respect for the knowledge. If not already, about 50% of the workforce in any of the given organization is already working towards a knowledge respect environment, which means you will have people who would be far junior in terms of years of experience or even educational qualifications, but they would be greater, or stronger or superior in terms of their specialist abilities. For any organization to grow, as long as we can ensure that the specialists get their due credit in terms of having a voice, there is going to be a greater level of success, there is a greater level of survival, and there is a greater level of growth for the organization.